Good evening, gang members, baby boomers. If you knew my mom, especially, well, back in the, I don't know, 60s or 70s, you know what she always said. If you don't have something pleasant to say, don't say anything at all. Good advice, right? She also told me that from my early 70s, she said, never blog in anger. That was, I don't know what the hell she's talking about, blogs. Never blog in anger. So I do try to hold my tongue at times, but I get a little bit angry, and here's the deal. And this is about Medicare. I would like to know, and I should be able to figure it out. I sold life insurance and health insurance for a few years, and I'm good at math, and I can read and that sort of thing, but I don't understand this. My wife, even though she's a school teacher, and they typically do not pay into Social Security or Medicare because they have their own system, like CalSTRS, California State Teachers Retirement Association. But thank God, Isabel, though she was an immigrant back in 1990, as she went along after a few years and she was able to become a teacher, she saw the wisdom, for whatever reason, to pay into Medicare. Thank God she did, because you know what? She qualified for Medicare, even though she's not 65. She was 44 when she had her major stroke, and typically you don't get Medicare till you're 65, right? But if you become disabled, you might qualify for it. So I finally go in there and apply for the Medicare, and great, got it. Takes 3 months to get it, and I mentioned this before. It takes 3 months for the application, and then I wrongly assumed, which reminds me of my former wife Terry. I said, never assume, because you make an ass out of you and me when you do. So not to assume, but I assumed that I go and apply for Medicare for my wife, and after the 3 months, if she's approved, she's approved. I think, well, it's good insurance, right? She's going to have it. Well, no. No one mentioned to me. Of course, I know that I should have done my homework and learned about this, but no one that I've ever spoken with knew anything about this, unless it's a unique situation with Isabel. There's a 2-year waiting period once you're approved for Medicare, a 2-year waiting period until it will take effect. Well, so the lady over at the government office, or as my dad said, the government office, the government office said that, well, we can backdate her application 1 year, and so that lessens the waiting time. And so again, as I mentioned before, here's the deal. We're winding up having to wait for another, until January of 2012 before her Medicare will pay for any hospital treatment or any doctor treatment or anything. And that really sucks, because she was making such good progress with her poor little arm. She's paralyzed on one side, but she's been able to use her arm to some degree. And her doctor, Dr. Lobatz, chief of staff there at Encinitas, Scripps Encinitas, the director of the Brain Injury and Stroke Recovery Center, he said to her at our last visit with him in January, that's 6 months ago, he said to Isabel, when he checked her arm out, and this again is like 3.5 years out from her stroke, he said, Isabel, I think you can get some more use out of this arm. And sure enough, her arm has been improving over the last 6 months, very, very slowly, but not like it was when she was getting treatment. She still is an outpatient at Scripps Encinitas, but we don't have the money to pay for the treatment, so it really sucks big time. I mean, what good is health insurance or disability insurance that you pay in for, and you reasonably expect that if something bad does happen and you do become disabled prior to age 65, you would think that it would kick in at some point, right? But a 2-year waiting period, what's up with that? So I'm on a mission now. I'm going to find out what that is, why it's that way, and I have to have a genuine person in the flesh tell me face to face why she reasonably needs to wait for 2 years for her benefits to take effect and for her to be able to go and get treatment again. And it does not make sense to me. So if you know, please let me know. All right? But that's it. I'm on a mission now to do that. I have sent a couple emails to our local congresswoman here in Oceanside, South Oceanside, which they weren't answered, but you wouldn't expect her. They get so much email. I'll write her a letter, but then I will ultimately stop in her office when she's there. Sometimes she's not usually there. And I'll have to ask, why is this? And of course, the reason I'm saying this is I hope someone pull a string and get the gosh darn woman in there to get some therapy again, because this just freaking sucks. You know, you do stupid things like, we both happen to take the same. Well, before stroke, neither one of us took antidepressants, but we both take Lexapro, and it's an expensive medication. So I usually take it only every 3 or 4 days, which is, obviously not the smart way to do it, or take a half a dose, so kind of stretch it out so she gets the whole thing, her regular 20 milligrams a day. But that's bogus. That's just freaking idiotic. And I know it's my fault. But I can't let her run out of that stuff. So I'm perplexed. I'm really perplexed. And so what would my mom say? She would just continue to say, Ricky, if you don't have something pleasant to blog about, don't blog.